Here's a quick comparison of the warrant versus call options and their potential payoffs. I'll explain this later. I've seen a lot of misinformation and questions surrounding Cassava warrants. I'll be going over everything you need to know about them. I have a unique perspective because I have experience investing in warrants. For example, I bought IPO, E, and CCIV warrants before they became SoFi and Lucid and made a decent amount off of them. I'm regarded, and this is not financial advice. Alright, let's start with a little bit of background. Cassava warrants were issued to all shareholders that owned Cassava stock as of December 22nd, 2023. Basically, for every share you owned as of that date, you received 0.4 warrant. This means, for example, if you owned 100 shares in Cassava, then you were eligible to receive 40 warrants. At its core, all warrants operate the same way. It gives you the ability to buy the common shares at a fixed price, and it's no different in this case. We're currently in the bonus period, which means for every Cassava warrant you hold, it gives you the ability to purchase 1.5 shares for $33. Or put another way, it allows you the ability to buy 1.5 shares at an average price of $22 per share. The bonus period will conclude when the share price trades above 26.4 for an extended period of time. We'll have plenty of heads up from the company in the event the bonus period is set to end. Moreover, the warrants are set to expire on November 15th, 2024. However, please keep in mind that the company has the ability to recall all of the warrants on or after April 15th, 2024. Upon a 20 days notice. We have to keep in mind that holding warrants is similar to holding call options in the sense that they have much more volatile movements compared to the underlying common stock, and they can also expire worthless. It's also theoretically possible for the company to recall the warrants after April 15th, meaning they'll be worthless should the company decide to recall them. Alright, here's some of my personal thoughts as well as Q&A regarding some questions that I felt was important to address. So first question I had was, why did the warrant price pump from $3.5 to $11 in early January this year? In my personal opinion, this was caused by naked call sellers getting caught with their pants down, so to speak. To elaborate on this, the naked call sellers that had sold calls expiring in January 2024 were obligated to deliver 40 warrants to the call holder for every option exercised. Of course, since they sold these naked, it meant they didn't actually hold the underlying shares, and as a result, were not eligible to receive the warrants. Therefore, they had to purchase these warrants on the open market in order to fulfill their contract obligation, thus creating a mini squeeze. The second question is, could something similar happen again? And in my personal opinion, yes. I think Cassava management has created a very, very unique situation with this warrant issuance. It's set up to magnify the potential upward move and has the potential to wreck the shorts. Let me explain. As far as we can tell, Cassava was over 30% shorted in December, meaning when the shorts need to cover, they are not only on the hook to return the Cassava shares they borrowed, but they also need to return 0.4 warrant as well to the lender. Similar to the naked call option example mentioned previously, I'd be willing to bet there's a significant amount of naked shorts in Cassava as well. And trust me, they're trying their hardest to ensure they don't have to cover. To elaborate, as the underlying experiences any sustained material upward movement, the shorts will feel the pain significantly more given that they're on the hook to deliver warrants back as well as the shares. Meaning if there's any significant material catalyst that occurs between now and warrant expiration, you can bet the warrants will pump hard. And in my opinion, it'll pump significantly above their intrinsic value, much like what we saw in January. Next question is it likely that the company will recall the warrants prior to November 2024? This is just my personal opinion, but I don't see the company recalling the warrants if the shares continue to fluctuate in the low 20s. It'll only piss off the dedicated supporter base because the warrants they hold will likely lose value in that scenario. Next, what's the most optimal? Should I be invested in shares or warrants or call options? Everyone has their personal risk profile and perspective. That said, I can give my personal take on how I see it. Please note I'm a degen and I'm looking for multi-baggers, so take it with a massive grain of salt. I think holding shares has the lowest potential reward and I personally don't see the appeal of it, especially in a biotech stock where it can drop massively on bad results. Instead, I prefer either warrants or call options in this case because they can magnify the potential gains. However, on the negative, you're playing a timing game hoping for a move before expiration. I think if you expect a material move up in share price between now and November, then warrant is the most optimal move. All right, let's talk about this. So first of all, we have a quick analysis on the Cassava warrants and their potential payoff. So let's walk through how I did it. Some things to consider first. We know that it costs $33 to exercise a warrant, and currently the warrant price is $5. That means the total cost for 1.5 shares, we'd have to spend $38. And down here, I've listed some scenario share price at warrant expiration. So in this case, let's say it finishes at $22. That means we'll lose 100% of our investment in warrant in this case. If it finishes around $25, then we'll about break even on our warrants. Let's say it goes to $50. That means we'll profit $37 per warrant. And on a percentage basis, that comes out to 740%. Now on the right side, I've chosen Jan 2025 22.5 call options because it had the most similar characteristics compared to the warrant. The only thing that we have to keep in mind is that this is probably more ideal because we have to keep in mind that the data readout would probably occur after warrant expiration, and it should occur sometime around December 2024 to early 2025. But again, that's not a guarantee. All right, so in the case of call options, the current price to purchase one call option is $820. Again, down here are the different scenarios. So let's say the share price ends up at $22 at call expiration. That means you'll lose 100% of your investment in the call option. If it ends up at $30, then you'll about break even on your call option. And if Cassava finishes at $50, you'll end up with a profit of $1,930, which comes out to about 235% profit.